Hello everyone, it's me again, your teacher Ian in Mathematics 7, and welcome to the fifth video lesson of our first quarter. And it is called The Properties of Addition and Multiplication of Integers. Enjoy watching and start learning. All right, we come now to our fifth lesson, which is about the properties of addition and multiplication of integers. And this is for week 4 of the first quarter. At the end of this lesson, the learner or all of you must illustrate the different properties of operations on the set of integers. Let's start. Albert is a farmer. He uses a lot of mental computations in determining the sacks of his newly harvested rice. He finds the sum of 5, 67, and 95 by mentally adding 5 and 95 to obtain 100, and then adding 67 to 100 to get the final sum of 167. The rule for order of operations is to add from left to right, but we change the order of addends and add them in any way we choose without affecting the sum. This technique is justified by the basic properties of addition and multiplication. But first, let us define what property is. Property is a certain rule that holds true for all elements of a set under the given operation. And now, let me show you first the properties of addition. Here are the properties of addition. First, closure property of addition. Second, commutative property of addition. Third, associative property of addition. Fourth, additive inverse. And fifth, identity property of addition. And now, here are the properties of multiplication. First, the closure property of multiplication. Second, the commutative property of multiplication. Third, the associative property of multiplication. Fourth, the identity property of multiplication. And fifth, the distributive property of multiplication over addition or subtraction. Now, let me give you an example of each property of addition. First, we have here the closure property of addition. When we say closure property of addition, it means that the sum of any two integers is also an integer. Example, we have here 7 plus 2 is equal to 9. 7 and 2 are both integers, and 9 is also an integer. 9 is the sum of the two integers, no? Which is 7 and 2. The second property of addition is the commutative property. And the commutative property of addition states that changing the order of the addends does not affect the sum. For any two integers, a and b, no? Let's say a plus b is also equal to b plus a. So again, the order of the addends does not affect the sum. So let's have an example. Example of which is, for addition, we have here 7 plus 2, which is of course 9, and 2 plus 7 is equal to 9. Therefore, 7 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 7. Another example is 8 plus negative 3, which is equal to positive 5, and negative 3 plus 8 is equal to positive 5. Therefore, we can say that 8 plus negative 3 is the same as negative 3 plus 8. The third property of addition is the associative property of addition. And it states that changing the grouping of the addends does not affect the sum. For any integers a, b, and c, a plus b, or quantity of a plus b plus c is the same as a plus quantity of b plus c. Example, we have here the quantity of 7 plus 2 plus 3, which is equal to 12, and we have here 7 plus quantity of 2 plus 3, which is also equal to 12. Therefore, we could say that the quantity of 7 plus 2 plus 3 is the same as 7 plus the quantity of 2 plus 3. Another example is the quantity of negative 4 plus 5 plus 9 is equal to 10, and negative 4 plus the quantity of 5 plus 9, which is equal to 10, is the same as the quantity of negative 4 plus 5 plus 9 equals negative 4 plus the quantity of 5 plus 9. The next property is called the additive inverse of an integer, which means the opposite of an integer. And the sum of an integer and its additive inverse is automatically 0. So for any integer a, so positive a, if added to its opposite, which is negative a, the resulting or the sum is 0, of course. So for example, we have here positive 8. If we're going to add positive 8 to its opposite, which is negative 8, that is automatically 0. Another example is if you're going to add negative 15 to its opposite, which is positive 15, then the result is automatically 0. The last property of addition is the identity property of addition, which states that the sum of an integer and 0 is the integer itself. So 0 is the identity element for addition. So for any integer a, if you're going to add 0 to positive a, the result is itself, which is a. So again, the identity element for addition is 0. So for example, we have here, if you're going to add 0 to positive 12, the resulting factor, the sum is 12, of course. And then if you're going to add 0 of sa negative 12 naman, the resulting or the sum is negative 12. We come now to the different properties of multiplication. The first property is called the closure property of multiplication, which states that the product of any two integers is, of course, another integer. So for example, we have here negative 7 times 2. That is equal to negative 14. 7 and 2, or negative 7 and positive 2 is or are example of an integers, and its product, which is negative 14, is also an integer. Next one is called the commutative property of multiplication. The commutative property of multiplication states that the changing order of the factors does not affect the product. So for any integer a and b, ab is equal to ba, or in other words, a times b
is also equal to B times A. So let's have an example here. We have 7 times 2, which is equal to positive 14, and 2 times 7 is also equal to positive 14. So in other words, 7 times 2 is the same as 2 times 7. Another example is if you're going to multiply 8 by negative 3, its product is negative 24. And if you're going to multiply negative 3 by 8, we also got the same product, which is negative 24. So in other words, 8 times negative 3 is also the same as negative 3 times 8. Next property is called the associative property of multiplication, which states that changing the grouping of the factors does not affect the product. So for any integers a, b, and c, if quantity ab is being multiplied to c, that is also the same as if you're going to group the second batch or second pair, no, that is just the same. So quantity of AB times C equals A times quantity of BC. So let's have an example here. If we're going to group 3 times 2 and then multiply natin yan by 4, the product is positive 24. Now, if you're going to group naman itong dalawang to, let's see kung tama pa din. So we have here 2 times 4, which is 8, times 3, that is still the same as before, which is positive 24. So in other words, quantity 3 times 2 times 4 is the same as 3 times quantity of 2 times 4. Let's have another example here. We have the quantity of 4 times negative 5 being multiplied by 1 is equal to negative 20. And if we're going to group the negative 5 and 1, we have the quantity of negative 5 times 1, and let's see, negative 5 times 1, that is negative 5 times 4, which is also negative 20. So in other words, the quantity of 4 times negative 5 being multiplied by 1 is the same as a 4 being multiplied by a quantity of negative 5 times 1. Next property of multiplication is called the identity property, which states that the product of an integer and 1 is the integer itself. So 1 here is the identity element for multiplication. If kanina sa addition, the identity element for addition is 0. Here in multiplication, the identity element for multiplication is 1. So for any integer a, if you're going to multiply a by 1, the answer is itself, which is a. For example, we have 12 times 1 is equal to 12. Another, negative 12 times 1 is equal to negative 12. So now, let us bear in mind that subtraction and division are not commutative. No? Subtraction. So let's say dito, sa subtraction, 7 minus 2 is equal to 5. But 2 minus 7 is equal to negative 5. So hindi siya commutative. Sa division naman, we have here 24 divided by 6, which is equal to 4, but 6 divided by 24, which is equal to 6 over 24. And the simplest form is 1 over 4. So, hindi talaga commutative ang subtraction, okay, and division. And we cannot also apply associative property in subtraction and division. So, ito naman, let's say, sa subtraction, associative, ginugrupo, diba, sa associative. So, let's say, ito, ang difference nito, ang magiging result nito is 10 minus 3, which is 7, and 7 minus 2 is, of course, 5, no? Which is not equal to 10 minus quantity of 3 minus 2, because on this expression, of course, you're going to perform first the indicated operation inside the parenthesis. So we have here 3 minus 1, minus 2 rather, 3 minus 2, which is 1, and 10 minus 1 is 9. So, different. So, hindi mo talaga ma-apply yung associative property sa subtraction. Let's see naman sa division. Sa division, we have here a quantity of 81 divided by 9. Tapos, i-divide mo sa 3. No? So, ito. 81 divided by 9 is 9, and divided by 3, which is equal to 3. But is not equal to the expression 81 divided by the quantity of 9 divided by 3. Here, uunahin mo na naman itong parenthesis na to. So, iangat ko lang para makita yung nasa baba. Yung parenthesis na to naman, ang uunahin natin. So, 9 divided by 3 is 3. And 81 divided by 3 is 27. So, it's so malayo. So malabo. Therefore, we could say that subtraction and division are not commutative nor associative. And that is the end of our 5th video lesson, which is about the different properties of addition and multiplication of integers. I hope you guys learned something from this video, and if you do have some clarification, just don't forget to message me through Facebook Messenger. And please do not forget to like this video. See you on our next video lesson.